Hello everybody, the Lawn Gnome is here.
That sucks.
It sucks.
It sucks quite a bit.
So you guys have heard many times when I talked about my very good friend, the notorious Mr. Beagle, the guy who pretty much helped me get onto YouTube and start to learn how to edit videos. He actually does edit film for a living. And a few months back, actually sometime in early spring, he was telling me that his company actually did get the Fox Searchlight film to edit called Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl. And when he mentioned the fact that it was the #1 movie at Sundance, and the fact that Fox Searchlight had purchased this movie to distribute it for a record-breaking $12 million, that's a pretty good reason to go and see a movie like that. So of course I went to see it, directed by Alfonso Gomez-Rejon, and this movie is the story of a boy in high school in his senior year, and he really doesn't want to belong. He knows how to passively aggressively be acquainted with everybody so not to get noticed and just be invisible, but he's got a good friend that he calls his co-worker, and his name is Earl, and the two of them met when they were younger, and one of their favorite things to do is just hang out at one of their teachers' offices during lunch, and also make these hilariously stupid films that they are very, very proud of. And then one day, Greg gets home and is told by his mother that there's a girl in their class named Rachel who unfortunately was diagnosed with leukemia, and she just wants him to go over to visit her just to cheer her up a little bit. And of course he doesn't want to because he feels that it's going to disrupt the nature of his universe. This movie is everything that everyone has been saying, because this is one of the most talked about movies on YouTube in the critics community today. It was a very, very well done movie, and I will also agree with the fact that this movie does kind of feel like a Wes Anderson movie based on the camera work and the cinematography as well. But knowing me, I am not a big fan of those things to a certain degree, nor am I a fan of much narration, nor am I a fan of dialogue showing up in the middle of the screen during a film. Yet, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl makes all of that work. To me, it felt like one of my favorite films, which is The Perks of Being a Wallflower, because similarly, the author of The Perks of Being a Wallflower had his hand in the making of the movie, similar to what Jesse Andrews has in the making of this film. The actors who portray the main three characters, me, of course, Craig, played by Thomas Mann, R.J. Seiler, who plays Earl, and Olivia Cooke, who plays Rachel, who is also known as the Dying Girl, they all did a very good job, and they all worked very well off of each other, but the supporting cast outside of them is very good. I think that the two standout performances were Nick Offerman and Molly Shannon. Two great comedians, and especially for a movie like this, they really made me laugh a lot, but also the kids made me laugh a lot too, and it was definitely a very unique telling of two people who just never would have imagined them actually getting together and becoming friends to actually have the relationship that they did. This movie also has one of the most unique scenes when it comes to being high. I kind of felt like I was having a really bad trip, and it really made me laugh very, very much. I also loved a lot of the stop-motion claymation that was in this movie, and I absolutely loved the score, which is done by Brian Eno, and he's one of the greatest names in music because he's one of the people that gave us a band that we all know today as U2. However, this movie does have one thing that I just didn't really like, and I'm not saying that it was bad, okay? I want to make that clear. This movie as a whole is definitely one of the better movies that came out this year, and I'm really hoping that it does get a couple of Oscar nods because it is definitely Best Picture worthy. This was like The Perks of Being a Wallflower meets Terms of Endearment because of the whole thing with Rachel having cancer. The last act of this movie is just not what I go to the movies for, without trying to spoil anything. I want to go to the movies, and I really want to come out with a smile on my face. This movie did give me a smile, but on the inside. Outside, it was just such a hard thing to bear throughout, just because of the fact that when there features a person in a film that's very, very sick, it's not something that you can always bear, and especially when you're going to go to a theater and spend some money on a time at the movies, these are not the feelings that you want to have when you're leaving. I will not lie, Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl is fantastic. And I definitely feel that everybody should go out and see this movie. If not, wait for it so you could see it at least once, because this is a movie you just really shouldn't miss. It's a wonderful movie about family, about finding yourself, about friendship, and about regret and hope. And I will definitely say that it was something that I'm glad that I saw. It's not a movie I would probably want to see again, although I have a feeling that I will end up seeing it again somewhere down the line, but I don't intend to read the book. If you have read the book, I would love to know if you feel that the film did the book justice. I personally feel that when the author has a very big hand in turning the book into a film, usually it does do a very good job. I just feel that it's not a movie that I would like to see again, but am I glad that I saw this movie? Oh yeah, I really do feel that this movie was a perfect story, but it just had a couple of things that I just did not want in my movie-going experience. So I am still going to give this movie a very high rating. I'm going to give Me, Earl, and the Dying Girl 3.5 out of 4. It is definitely up there with some of the better movies that I have seen this year, but it is not the best movie that I have seen this year. It is still a tie between A Most Violent Year and Love and Mercy, and for some strange reason, Dope is just clawing at a possible first slot. But we'll see. Anyway, if you have seen the movie, I'd love to know what you guys have to think. Maybe we can have a discussion, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Actions speak louder than words.